Just watched a video from Christian Amanpour from a few months ago, just before the Scottish referendum, and she was comparing David Cameron to Lord North, sort of insinuating that if he loses Scotland he could go the way of Lord North and be forced to resign. A few differences, of course. Lord North lost part of the empire, and the United Kingdom is not the British Empire. So it's an interesting comparison, but it's not entirely accurate. Anyway, what prompted me to make this video was some idiot underneath had in big bold letters, "Free Scotland." Now, I have to tell you, I am so sick of Scottish nationalists, and a few points I'd like to make. Okay, so they pushed for a referendum. They got their referendum. Scotland went to the polls. Only Scotland. People in England, Wales and Northern Ireland didn't have a say. They couldn't vote on it. Well, they could have a say, but we could not vote on it. Even though it would have been something that would have destroyed this country if it went the way of Scottish independence. They got their referendum. There was a clear choice. Should Scotland be independent or should it stay a part of the United Kingdom? There were debates, there was dialogue, and both sides had their say. Guess what? It was 55% for staying in the UK, 45% for independence. 45%. They lost. They had their referendum and they lost. And yet even now they're still pushing for another referendum. Nicola Sturgeon says independence is still possible. She's just been made the new SNP leader. And she is actually pushing for another referendum. These people cannot simply accept democracy and accept that that was the will of the Scottish people. Now, I hope Jim Murphy becomes First Minister of Scotland, and I hope he continues with his unionist credentials and reminds these people that the referendum was a democratic choice and the choice was made by the people of Scotland. So it's about bloody time that Nicola Sturgeon, the SNP, and these petty-minded, idiotic Scottish nationalists accept democracy. I am so fed up with these people, and what I find most hard to accept is when they spout off about freedom. To me, that is an insult to people in North Korea. It's an insult to people in Uzbekistan. It is an insult to people living in the Yazidi, in the Sadir Mountain in northern Iraq, the Yazidi people. These morons do not know what they are talking about. In Scotland, you can have any opinion you want. You can have peaceful protest. You can even yell in a democratically elected politician's face and call him a traitor, as they done with Jim Murphy. I am so sick of these people. If Scotland is somehow a slave of the English, as they love to insist, then why is it that our last three Prime Ministers have been Scottish or of Scottish descent? David Cameron is a Scottish name. Tony Blair, Gordon Brown, William Gladstone, one of our greatest Prime Ministers, had Scottish descent. I am so sick of them spouting out the same propaganda about this victimhood mentality. And it is basically based on racism. It's trying to stir up resentment against the English, and not just the English, other Britons as well. I know from personal experience, when I went to Edinburgh, I had to put up with some personal abuse by idiotic Scottish nationalists. One woman yelled in my face and said it should be illegal what you're doing. In other words, the Scottish nationalists can have all their crap all over Edinburgh on the referendum day, but the very few unions who were there can't have their say. Basically, what this shows is that Scottish nationalists have a very narrow, very nasty outlook. And whilst I'm not talking about all of them, I'm not talking about everyone who voted yes. I don't believe everyone who voted yes is a narrow-minded racist, but there is a very unpleasant core at the heart of Scottish nationalism, and I'm pleased the referendum went the way it did, but I'm still concerned that 45% of Scottish people endorsed this hateful ideology. It's not about destiny, it is about division. That's not scaremongering, that is a fact. And quite frankly, I am so sick of these people. Why can't they simply accept democracy and move on? I appreciate they didn't get what they wanted, but what I cannot accept is the fact that they are still pushing this, and they're still trying to stir up divisions in the United Kingdom. Scotland is a part of the United Kingdom, and it's about bloody time you people accept that and get into the 21st century. Because rather than wanting to have a destiny, as you claim, actually you want to go back in time. You want to go back into the time when Britain was divided, when England and Scotland were two separate kingdoms. Crimea River, and just lose this victimhood mentality because it is beyond crap. Actually, people in England, Wales and Northern Ireland would say the Scots get far more than their fair share of spending in proportion to their population. Scotland has 5 million people, England has 54 million people, and yet Scotland proportionally actually gets more spending per head. So I don't know where the victimhood mentality is coming from. But basically, I am so sick of it.